Hey guys, it's Sean Klinger with Vital MX, and we are in South Carolina riding the 2020 Yamaha YZ125X. It's an all-new model for 2020, but obviously based on the YZ125. Some of the changes, obviously they had to make this bike a little bit different than the moto bike, and the aim is, just like all the other X's in their cross-country line, is to be that bike between moto and full trail, so YZ and WR. So obviously this bike doesn't have lights, as you can see, but they did change some things from the moto version to the X version. First of all, the suspension is the same KYB SSS fork and shock, and we really like those, but they are tuned for off-road, so they're even softer than the standard moto 125. Moving on to the engine, one of the main things they did was they changed the head. It actually has lower compression, a little bit more room in the combustion chamber, and the spark plug is moved up a little bit. And that might sound like a bad idea for a 125 just because they're already kind of, you know, not known for explosive power, but the whole point of changing that combustion chamber is to level out the power curve. So when you're looking at the dyno chart, instead of being low on the bottom and then a nice high RPM peak, it actually starts to build a lot sooner than the standard 125, but it doesn't reach such a high peak until later. So it's a more linear power. But other than that, I mean, they didn't make a whole lot of differences, a lot of different changes to this bike to make it the cross-country bike. Today we are riding in some really tight technical trails in the woods, some slick clay, and to be honest, I'm really hard pressed to think of a better bike to ride in these kind of conditions because this bike is so easy to ride. So right off the bat, I did notice a difference in the power. I could be in second gear in some situations where I definitely would have to be in first gear on the moto version of this bike. It has more torque, and it almost feels like you're gonna bog, like you're gonna stall, and it sounds like it, but it's still tractoring and still motoring. And so that was really cool to play with such a small bike, that you could be so low in the RPM and still have a little bit of that torque feel to be used for off-road riding. Suspension is excellent. I mean, I really like the standard moto version for moto of the 125, and it doesn't feel like it's overly soft. I mean, I'm 215 pounds without gear, and I didn't feel like I was blowing through the stroke too fast or using it up. It tracks the ground excellently. It's nice and supple and comfortable, confidence inspiring. So you're going through stuff and you see roots and chunks and holes, and it's going to behave how you want it to, and it works really well. Overall, I think one of the coolest things about the bike is how light it is compared to some of the other off-road bikes that you ride. You know, 125 is very light. I was riding by myself and was able to easily, you know, flick the bike around, move it around. It was backwards, laying on its side, and I could pick it up and, you know, not toss it down the hill, but hop back on it and get down there with no problem. And I didn't wear myself out. You know, this is a great stepping stone. If I could say there's any con, I mean, we didn't have a moto track out here today. We're not riding any moto, but I feel like out of the X's, because I've ridden the 250FX, the 450FX, and both of those, I would feel confident being able to ride a moto track. The suspension has enough hold up, is stiff enough, and it feels, you know, aggressive enough to be ridden both off-road and on a moto track. The main takeaways for this bike is that it's incredibly light, super fun, doesn't wear you out. We've been riding for 6 hours basically all day so far, and, you know, feeling great. I want to go ride some more. Really pumped to ride this bike, and I think it's really cool where it slots into the whole market of what Yamaha makes, the bikes they make. And there's a new option for up-and-comers or even older guys that want a smaller bike. So if you like this video, click the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you want to see more bike tests, check out vitalmx.com. And thanks for watching.